Good evening, fans of Basement Quality Banter. We are now at episode 17, and tonight I'm joined by special guest Angus Grant. How are you?
Good, thanks.
What
Glad
are
to be
you?
aboard for the first time tonight.
Yeah, only 17 episodes down. We must be doing something right. What are you sipping on this evening?
I'm sipping on one of my favorite beers from Carbon 6, which is their Cardinal Red IPA.
Yes, lovely.
Really nice drop, nice and malty, some good hops punching around. Great beer.
Yeah, nice. Well done to the Carbon 6 crew who Adsy's recently joined. So that's we're going to see a lot more of them with him behind as a brand ambassador. So that'll be really cool. Uh,
Yeah, I went out on Friday and to the brewery to grab the beers, and there were no adsies.
oh no,
None of them.
no, that's terrible. Um, I'm having a Suffolk Old Stout, um,
Oh,
brewed
nice one.
by brewed by uh, Lion, of course. Um, Still go to the old recipe, but 7.4% stout. Still a really nice beer. If you can't find two is old and Suffolk's around, definitely worth grabbing one of those. It's still a nice, creamy, rich stout. Ah,
All these guys.
all the best extra stout whenever you can grab that as well. Yeah, definitely. Alrighty, let's crack on. I've got beer news. So IBA and Crafty Pint reported this week a step in the right direction with the major retailers adding their higher ownership name to exclusive products. Beers brewed for Coles Liquor will carry the Liquorland name and Coles head office's address. Whilst Endeavour, whilst Endeavour Group will uh, list its top level ownership of Pinnacle Drinks. So it'll say brewed for or made for or for Pinnacle Drinks, part of the Endeavour Group. Aldi will continue to list their products made for Aldi. There have been calls for Kirin, most say Lion, and Asahi owned products to do the same. Some already do, some don't. This all sort of came about because of the wine industry funded a program and a review that went into home brands in the wine industry. There were some wine brands talking about stories of churches in South Australia that never existed and things like that. So they tried to get a bit of that away, and so with the wine industry adopting those measures, the beer industry has sort of come along as well. I would say they'll do something similar with spirits. So anything that's made, produced, exclusive, maybe for the major retailers or bottle shop chains or something like that. Hopefully, there'll be a little bit more transparency, which is something that a lot of groups have been asking for. And transparency is always good for the consumer if they can turn the can around and see who actually owns it. It might, change their idea of the product.
Yeah, sounds like half a step forward.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I know uh, those those products. They're brewed or blended to meet a customer demand, and they don't do it with half-ass quality or anything. So a lot of those companies are really proud of those products. So they might even shout it loud and proud and not try and hide it is what they were perhaps perceived as before. So I was just looking into the wine aspect of it, and there's one wine company, the Treasury Wine Estates. They have 70 brands in Australia, making 15% market of the market alone. Think Penfolds, Rosemount, some of these huge um,
Mm.
brands, and it's just by the one wine industry, one um, company. So uh, I don't think
So
beer.
they would have like seven times the marketing staff than they would actual production staff,
Oh, it's just
if if any production staff at all on their books.
yeah. And Treasury used to
So
be.
many brands.
It used to be part of Foster's, which was part of CUV and all different changes before it went out on its own. So, you could have had at one stage you could have had Asahi owning so much of the wine, soft drink, and beer industry all alone. So
Yeah,
and spirits. So yeah, crazy.
and the ACCC would have let it happen.
No, well that's why when Asahi bought
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
PUB, they had to unload Strongbow, they had to unload
Yeah,
Stella, because otherwise they would have had too much market share of the ciders with Somersby and things like that. So there are some rules that are enforced in Australia with ownership. Um, does it go far enough? Maybe not, but yeah. But there are government policies to try and split up. Some of the big ones like Bunnings, Woolworths, and Coles. They think they've got too much of a market share, and they can actually force divestment if they believe there's too much market power, which is more of a US thing. It'd be really hard to do here, but yeah. Next one up was Japanese beer brand Kenjayabi. Um, if you follow the Facebook group, you would have seen this one. And so it's designed a beer bottle for sitting on, for placing in the sand to have at the beach. And some of the comments online have been fantastic because it's got a round bottom. And yeah, some people have mentioned that it won't be often used for placing in the sand. Um, I'm sure they're horrified by some of the ideas and um, some of the ER people saying that's not going in the sand, and I put that they probably will have to put a warning for it not to be placed anywhere in the body. Um, but
yeah.
I
The
don't
mouth.
think they thought that one through, or they've legitimately done it as a piss take to get traction on their brand. Either way,
Yeah,
it's a bit of a cracker. I don't think I'll be buying any of those bottles anyway.
yeah.
Three.
Yeah, like you're right. Or they absolutely thought it through and planted some comments somewhere and just let the firestorm erupt.
Yeah, it could be just.
If
Yeah, it could just be a brand marketing. So if that's the
and
case,
if they did, well, if they did, well played.
yeah, love it. Lachy Crothers launches fresh as fucking fuck. Obviously, a fresh beer brand. I think it's perhaps similar to Evil Mega Corporation, where it's a subscription service. Have a look into it, but damn, you have to put your sunglasses on because the MySpace inspired website and promotional pages will burn your retinas. I really like Lockie and what he did at Ballistic in its early days, building up to what it was. I'm really keen to see what sort of shape this takes. So yeah, there's not a lot of info out yet, but I think it's going to be similar to Evil Mega Corporation from WA. So watch this space.
Yeah, as a previous web developer, I had some trauma flashbacks to the mid '90s when I saw the page.
Yeah, yeah,
Just that, yeah, like you said, that real MySpace adding in as many colors because there's options and things in the web building thing you can use and
yeah,
oh yeah. But
yeah.
I think kind of reading a bit of Lockie's blurb, that's kind of like Lockie loves to stir shit, and I think that's part of the brand is that he like he's doing that just to I don't know cause trouble, start conversations, just that
Make
that
us talk about it. Yeah.
make us talk about it to all 17 of our people.
Hey, look, our Facebook group's like 150 people. I don't know how many people listen to the pod, but I'll have to check the stats next week on episode 18, I think. But yeah, I'll put in later. But we've actually got content coming from at least one listener, so that's really good. My next one was the Queensland IPA Cup returns this year, 30th of August at Range. 20 Queensland brewers fighting it out. Um, that's a really cool day. You get to go and vote for your favourite, and um, those beers would all be in the tank, I reckon, by now, or very close
It'll
to it.
be fresh as fucking fuck.
Yep, yep. So I reckon there's some great breweries there, like Moffat Beach and Range, of course, and I think that's going to be really cool. Powder Monkey from the UK is closing the Wayward site in Sydney. They're going to consolidate some of the assets after all the ink's finally dried on the buyout of Akasha and Wayward. The lease was coming up, so it actually makes sense. And the equipment and venue is up for sale or lease. So obviously they're going to just concentrate the production out of the bigger Akasha site. And similarly, White Bay in Sydney are moving production to Hawkers in Melbourne, which is interesting. White Bay have grown
Yeah,
and sponsored the Swans, and since they rebranded, they've been going great guns. But they've done a partnership with Hawkers, who does have a bigger facility in Melbourne, and of course they're making sense for economies of scale, and they're going to look for a smaller sort of bar model to push both of the brands in Sydney. So again, economies of scale, working together, consolidating. I think we're going to see more of that this year for sure.
I wonder how much that'll affect their Sydney fans, them moving production to Melbourne and being a Melbourne brewery with a bar in Sydney. Okay,
Yeah,
because there's so many breweries you can quite easily just drop them and find another Sydney brewery that you're gonna love and is local and is part of the community and all that stuff. I
yeah, and
wonder how
they worked
much.
really hard to build that, especially, and everyone was so proud of them being big enough to sponsor and supply beer to the Swan
Yeah,
and to this SCG. I hope maybe if they do like a little brew pub, that they do some special stuff on site. They might still be able to capture that, even if it's not the big production. Like a lot of the big production comes from Hawkers, but yeah, I hope it works out for them. But the Sydney siders would prefer it probably all to stay in Sydney.
yeah, it's risky.
It is. So as I mentioned before, Scott Eckford, who's sent a story a couple of times now, has sent a couple this week. So thank you, Scott. Um, this week he sent Ballarat's 20-year-old Red Duck Brewery is selling up. Apparently, it's going to continue with the new owners, but that's 20 years. The original owners there running that out in sort of regional Victoria. So all the best to them, and all the best to the new owners. Keen to hear and see what they do. And one that we both had was ALH and Endeavour Group have teamed up with Great Northern Brewery,
Okay,
which is Asahi, to relaunch the waterfront hotel in the Dillabar in the Sunshine Coast. So it's a $5.1 million investment, and it'll be now called Northern Grounds. I think it's an interesting concept having a multinational beer brand on the Sunshine Coast. And as we've mentioned the last few weeks, the Sunshine Coast has a hive of excellent breweries, lots of independents, huge flavour profiles, which isn't exactly what Great Northern is. Beer companies used to own pubs and sold their own beers. And as time moved on, they did like exclusive, you know, you used to have a Tui's pub and you had a Forex pub and you had a Balimba pub or whatever it was. And then they would like exclusively, when they weren't owned by the breweries, they did, exclusivity rights. And then when that moved, they went to the exclusive beloved tap contract model, where they'd come in and put a $50,000 glycol system in, but you had to put 10 of your 12 taps had to be their products at this price for this long. So um,
yeah.
look, I think it's an interesting thing. You had a couple more points about it.
Yeah, so I think probably about the only thing extra that I found. So their marketing point is really kind of tying into the camping kind of ethos that Queensland is really famous for. So they're really marketing it as having the same vibe as your camping trips. So my picture is midges and mosquitoes and obnoxiously loud neighbors and raining or
Yep.
windy. or sunny 50 degrees, everyone's dying.
Actually, if they
I
want
mean,
to make
their
it,
point was that
yeah, you're right. Keep
like, their marketing point was that there's going to be open fires and char grilled cooking and that sort of thing. So
going. Look, it sounds like it's an interesting move. It's an interesting move in the location it is. If they wanted to make it that sort of Great Northern, that sort of camping thing, why wouldn't they just put it? I don't know, take the roof off and just put a tarp on the top or something like.
so
Um,
so it flaps in the wind and
yeah,
makes a god awful noise unless it's raining and yeah.
it would probably be good for tourists if they're going up that way to get a, you know, I don't know. It's brewed in Yatla, so it's sort of
The beer from up there brewed down here,
down here
sold
and not
just
up there.
just up there.
The beer that is from cans and no, yeah, no. Um, yeah, look, it's not bad. You said that they're going to have other Asahi brands like Green Beacon and Bolter on
Yeah, they
tap.
mentioned
So
Green Beacon and Bolt will be on tap as well. So there's a little bit of light there.
look, I have
It,
to
it'll
be
go
honest.
gangbusters. It
I
will
have to
go
be honest.
gangbusters.
It'd be worth a look. I might have to take a day ride up there and have a look because, um, yeah, it'll be interesting. And oh, the 15th of August means they're probably nearly they're only a couple of weeks away from opening, so they've probably done
Yeah.
most of the hard work now. But yeah, but thank you again for Scott for dropping it and if dropping those news. And if anyone has any other things they want us to talk about or shit on or anything, just make sure you let us know. Um, you had the excise being frozen, perhaps.
Perhaps, maybe, possibly. Yeah, so Albo, the Labour government, Albo, have announced that one of their strategies for freezing the cost of living is to, or to tackle the cost of living is to freeze excise for the next 2 years, um, which sounds great until you read a little bit of the fine print. And I don't really see how it's decreasing the cost of living. They're just choosing not to increase it for the next 2 years. So, and I think you've then got breweries who are making beer. Part of that tank goes towards package, part goes towards draft. The draft is got a freeze on the excise, but the package is still subject to all the excise increases.
Mm.
So then you've got breweries splitting beer inside one tank and having to manage the excise on or manage that increased cost on half the tank or two-thirds of the tank because they're choosing to package it. Um, I don't know, I just seems like just one of those half-assed steps that they seem to do for the beer industry just to kind of make people a bit happy, but not when you really think about it, it's really kind of a half-assed effort.
I think Labor's really
Uh,
good at ideas, but not really good at implementation. Um, I think this is designed to get people out spending in the community and going to those venues,
yeah,
which makes sense because venues are absolutely dying. They're struggling. More people are drinking at home, and if they can cut excise or freeze excise for those, great. However, uh, a lot of smaller community brew pubs aren't even at the excise threshold, so it doesn't affect them.
yeah. Again, it's one of those half-assed steps that really hits it for the big guys, but maybe not so much the small guys. What else I have? Yeah, so I mean, it's still got to be ratified in government, so it's just an idea at the moment. They have said they'll freeze the next excise increase, regardless of it actually being pushed through Parliament. So that's why it's still a maybe. And I was did some reading, and so the proposal, if it gets ratified and pushed through Parliament, will put a $95 million hole in the government budget for the next 2 years. So that's how much money they make off just the increase in excise, not excise itself in total.
No,
Just that increase, they make it would make an extra $95 million.
just
So
in
fingers
draft.
crossed.
Yeah,
So fingers crossed that that 95 million doesn't go to the government and goes to the breweries and pubs and hotels and things. I hope hopefully that 95 million is spent there to help those guys out.
We
And
say it every year. It's just an antiquated, uh, draconian taxation system that we have with alcohol in Australia. It's something that every government is scared to tackle and fight for reform. And I think that anyone has a hard job of actually, you know, bringing it to a head.
yeah, so apparently Australia has the third highest beer tax in the OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. There's 38 member countries, and we're the third highest in beer tax.
You,
Probably one of the smaller populations as well.
you just have to travel to, Europe. I remember I got this fantastic Pilsner from Lidl in Germany, just the supermarket. And it was like €2 for a can. Like,
Yeah,
just
just ridiculous.
yeah, I don't get it. Um, you had what did you have? Oh, our compulsory WA beers
Now,
news segment.
compulsory WAB segment.
We've got the love for
Yes, there's a
WA, everyone.
yeah. I keep pushing it. Someone's got to give me a holiday. So there's a new collab beer support on tap, which has been run by. I'll have to read all of these ones. It's been a collab between Gage Roads, Shelter Brewing, Pirate Life, Bintani, Kegstar, EES Shipping, Rural Aid, and the WA Brewers Association. So the collab's aimed at raising funds and awareness for Rural Aid and the WA Brewers Association. And the beer itself sounds pretty tasty. It's got Joe White Pale Malt, some biscuit, malted wheat, and carapils, bunch of New Zealand Necatron, and my absolute favorite hop Citra. And they've got some hop extract which I had never heard of, which sounds like they add laden for aroma.
Yeah,
So that's on sale in WA, and that sounds like a
yeah,
pretty good beer.
being raised for a good cause. Get on it. We're going to have to try and find that. Get the WA Brewers Association on board and get us to send us over a couple. And I'll happily pay for that because it's raising money for a good cause, especially Rural Fire Brigade over there. They've had some really bad fires, so yeah, no, that'd be really cool. Um, yeah, speaking of fundraising, I am joining United We Ride. It's every Harley Davidson dealership in Australia and New Zealand is hosting a ride on the 6th of September to raise money for the salvos. I'm riding from Gasoline Alley, and if you want to support, I have put a couple of things in the chat. It's uwr.me/ Luke Cooper 696 and any donation over $2 is tax deductible. But I think it's usually 1 or 200 bikes from each dealership, and yeah, every dealership on that day. Hopefully the weather's nice. We're all going to raise some money for the salvo. So I think that's a really cool thing. I haven't seen that before, so I'll be definitely looking forward to that. In our
Are non-Harleys allowed?
100%, as you sign up, you can actually just you've got to put in your license and if you're patched and things like that. And there's some rules around that. But yeah, you can turn up on your Kawasaki Ninja if you want to, or any bike. It's a Harley fundraising thing, but they're not saying you have to ride a Harley. So um, sign up and come for a ride too. Get your bike on the road and
Yeah. Yeah, I know I said to you earlier I was going to put tires on it this month, and it's the 24th, and I don't know where time's gone, so maybe next month.
yeah. Well, jump on if you jump onto the United We Ride. Make sure you get one of those spots and yeah, we'll go for a ride. In sport,
Which,
Spa in Belgium this weekend. Keen to see all that. Yep, F1's back
yeah,
on.
such a good track. So such an interesting track,
Yep,
and so much history in it as well.
and it's long and it's fast and
Mm.
yep, and
Dangerous and reckless and
dangerous and
overtaking. Yeah, yeah, it's
or rouge in the wet if it's fantastic. And we will finish up with your Wallabies review.
Wallabies review. Yeah, well, they played the Lions last weekend. Um, yeah, look, it was a bit of a mixed bag. The Wallabies were completely dominated in every single facet of the game for the first 20 minutes. Like they just had no answer to the Lions. They were sitting back on their heels, just watching everything happen. Um, I think in the second half, I think um, like a reserves came on, and I think they added a lot to the game. Carlo Tizzano had a blinder. I gotta look his name up because I always forget it. Champion de Crispini replaced Rob Valentini on the side of the scrum, and he had a monster defensive effort. He was just tackling everything that didn't have a Wallabies jersey on. It was awesome. Um, and that was kind of a fairly similar story across the whole squad. Everyone was doing a massive defensive effort. So Champion had a really good game. I thought Michael, not Michael Liner, Tom Liner, his son, had a really calm, composed game. His first start in a test against the Lions. Pretty massive game to start. And I think he played pretty well for such a young guy. Um, but I think like the defense was really solid. Lots of effort across the ground, but defense just lacked any spark, any initiative, any of that real high quality Australian backline running plays and stretching defenses and stressing defenses out. The forwards had no forward punch at all when they run the ball up, or one offs, and two lines guys just waiting and just thundering us backwards another 2 meters. Um, so I think the Lions were a bit unlucky not to put on another 14, 21 points through their own mistakes. So I think this weekend we've got Rob Valentini back, who's going to add a bit of fire and gristle to the forwards. Who else is back? Will Skelton is back. From all the games I've watched, I haven't really rated Will Skelton. He comes with a massive amount of hype, and he's a big body, but just doesn't really seem to use it that much. So I'm hoping that he proves me wrong this weekend and belts some lines around and puts a bit of starch in the forward pack. That's where it needs to start. We're just getting pumped in the forwards, and with the forwards going backwards, and the backs have got no chance.
So enough of a chance to win and take it to a tiebreaker, you think, or
The forwards would have to do a complete turnaround. Like the forwards would have to completely dominate, where they didn't dominate anything. Oh, there's a couple of line outs and a couple of scrums where we gave him a bit of a threat, but I think it's a complete flip and just be in their faces, aggressive, abrasive. There's none of that on the weekend. Like one of our backs got head eye tackled, and the forwards just sat there and kind of watched it and didn't do anything. Like they should be up in that guy's face, wrestling him and
yeah,
telling him it's not on. And they just all watched it happen and just kind of that's it. I'm like, that's not how you treat your mates.
yeah.
It's got to be some starch, a little bit of aggro. So certainly Valentini will bring that. He's a bit of a fiery character.
So what you're suggesting is someone just gets in with the deep heat and the jock straps before they start, and the Wolves do it,
Something like that. Yeah, bit of Red Bull in the water bottles or something. I don't know.
mate? Bit of space. Uh, oh, very cool. Oh well, you enjoy your Cardinal Red, and I will finish my stout, and we will chat again next week.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone. See you
Cheers,
later.
mate. Bye.